On this episode of the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino, we recap the ChampU BBQ, and Teddy was there, so he's got a unique perspective on it. In Football Guys Talking Basketball, we discuss the Kemba Walker trade and the Thunder's bad luck in the NBA draft lottery. We finish up giving you our winners and losers of the week. Please download and subscribe to the podcast, rate it 5 stars, and write us a good review. Follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Just search Oklahoma Breakdown on any of those, and you'll find us. All right. Our man, Michael Hosty, will kick this thing off. It's time for the Oklahoma Breakdown. It's a beautiful Thursday, June 24th, and you're listening to the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind is Oklahoma City's premier casino experience, and your health and safety are Riverwind's #1 priorities. There are so many reasons why Riverwind is consistently voted OKC's #1 casino, but it all starts with their amazing variety of gaming thrills and excitement. Riverwind's beautiful award-winning environment plays host to more than 2,800 of the latest electronic games with a huge selection of table games, including blackjack, blackjack match, roulette, and Teddy's favorite, craps. No matter what your game, Riverwind has it in spades and hearts. And Fridays in June from 6 p.m. to midnight, you can win your share of $80,000 in cash and bonus play in Riverwind's $80,000 summer vacation promotion. That's a lot of money. If you need help finding your way, just visit riverwind.com. Riverwind Casino, simply the one. Now, we're recording this on Wednesday night. Teddy, we were not supposed to be recording this on Wednesday night.
We were supposed to record this Wednesday morning.
There was a plan in place. There were plans in place. We were supposed to do pre-record multiple episodes on Sunday. We had interviews with our man Creed Humphrey lined up. We had an interview with our man Taylor Lewan lined up. And my son, which is weird to say, had other ideas. There was a plan in place, and it did not go according to plan, man.
Well, that's your first welcome to parenthood. Nothing is going to go according to plan. Get used to improvising. But that's awesome, dude. I'm so happy for you guys. So it's whenever it all actually happens, it's amazing that it goes the way it's supposed to, isn't it?
It all happened so fast, Teddy. So what happened was, and I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I just became a dad, so I'm going to tell the story. So my wife was scheduled to be induced literally right now, like as we're recording this. It was supposed to be Wednesday night on the 23rd. That was the plan. And last Saturday night, during the Nets-Bucks game, right, Game 7, my wife informs me rather calmly that she is having some pretty significant contractions. And she tells me, it's kind of been going on all day a little bit, but it's starting to ramp up. And I'm like, okay, I know what to do here. Let's time them. Let's see how long they are. Let's see how far they are apart. Well, we do that for about 2 hours. The contractions get longer. The time between them gets shorter. I'm not a doctor, but I kind of put 2 and 2 together. And bless her heart, she's looking at me. She knows how badly I want to watch the end of this Bucks Nets game. She's looking at me. There's 2 minutes left to go in the game, Ted. The bags are packed. I've been putting everything together. We are ready to roll. And she looks at me with the most sincere look and say, "Hey, Gabe, we got to go." I mean, we got to go. So I didn't even get to see the crazy finish of that game. I saw the highlights, but it was then we load everything up. I had this romantic plan. I was supposed to take her to dinner at the ranch on Tuesday night, give her push present. Shout out to my friends at Diamonds Direct for the push present. They were fantastic. Helped me out there. But there was a plan for everything, and it just all went away. And we got to Mercy Hospital at like 11 at night, and they said, "Hey, we're going to monitor her for an hour. And if she shows significant progress," because she wasn't quite yet 39 weeks. So they were like, she has to show significant progress for us to admit her. And boy, did she ever, Ted.
Wow.
And it was time to rock and roll, man. It was It was a whirlwind.
Wow. Yeah. I can remember it being a whirlwind, and I, that's the thing is you feel like, okay, we're gonna have some time. We'll be prepared for this, but you go into it working on that no rest. By the time it's over and it's happened, you've been up for probably 24 hours, right? Close to it.
Yeah, it was so the funny thing is we get admitted, right? So we're in like the I don't know, the labor and delivery wing of the 6th floor there at Mercy Hospital. And they're checking her in, they're looking at her, not to be too graphic, they're looking at her cervix, they're looking at how dilated she is, all those things. And she's at like a 4, right? And you got to get to like a 10. And the lady and the nurse, who was an absolute delight, she was fantastic. She was basically like, okay, it's going to take some time, this is your first baby, it's going to take some time. So my wife looks at me and she's like, hey, try to get some sleep. And remember, I texted you about it. I was like,
Uh,
do I just stay up, do I just start ripping coffee, or do I try to sleep? And you were like, dude, she's going to hate you, but get some sleep. So I take some melatonin. I'm trying to catch a few hours. I get woken up by the word, whoa. That's it. That's all I hear. I'm like, what? What? It's just the labor and delivery nurse going, whoa. In the time that I had been asleep, which was not very long, my wife went from a 4 to an 8.
wow.
And when I tell you, I was out of it. I mean, I was, huh, what?
Melatonin coursing through your veins.
And it was so I was battling that. I start ripping coffee. She's telling my wife to start the pushes and all those things. And she does a couple and she's like, you need to stop. You need to stop. I'm calling Dr. Wilkes right now. And shout out to Dr. Wilkes. She was there very quickly, but it just all happened so fast. 5 a.m, baby boy's out.
Next thing you know, doctor's handing it to you, right? It's amazing.
It was clearly a life-changing experience, but my
Hey,
wife's
I'll tell you this.
efficiency.
You sent me a picture at like 6:30 in the morning, and you looked fresh as a daisy, man. I don't know how you pulled that off.
I got some good. That nap was, I mean, it was melatonin induced. It was good. It was
You got
good.
some. You were directly into REM sleep, huh?
I won't lie. I wasn't like wide awake till we were rocking and rolling, and little Cameron was coming out. I
That's
was like,
awesome.
oh, okay, it's here, and it was an amazing experience. And now I get, like you had talked to me about it, and all these other guys that are dads talk to me about it. It's like, dude, it's an unbelievable experience. And all of a sudden you have a kid. It was
Yeah.
just, I mean, dude, it was wild.
And the drive home from the hospital with the kid in the back is even weird. Like how careful you are and like attentive to everything that you're typically not whenever you're driving.
Just didn't even think about looking at my phone.
Did too.
Just very, slow turning the wheel. It was okay. This is a random question, but when you drove your son home, did your wife sit in the back next to the car seat or in the front?
I think she sat in the front, but I don't
Because
remember.
my wife and I, we were having a debate about it. We were like, do you sit in the front? Do you sit in the back with the kid? She was more comfortable sitting in the back with him. I was like, okay, whatever. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. But drove us home, turned the Kings of Leon on. I was like, son, got to learn to love this stuff, and just cruised home. I never felt nervous driving. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but I thought I would be freaking out more. I felt pretty composed in that scenario.
Well, that's good. That's awesome, man. I'm glad everything worked out. I'm glad that you're home, you're settled, you're transitioning into fatherhood nicely.
Yeah, last night was whoo, whoo.
Yeah.
They get to crying in the middle of the night, and you're just like, "What's wrong? What's going on?" Yeah, we'll probably talk about fatherhood quite a bit on here. We'll try not to. I know I've gone long here, and I'm sorry, but
No, it's awesome.
we'll try to sprinkle in a little bit of my a few of my
The journey.
experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah, because oh boy, I'm the diaper guy. That's my role. Now I can't feed them, can't help there, so I'm the wake up and clean up the mess guy, and it's already gone from the black sticky tar to kind of a mucusy brown yellow type substance. And I've embraced the challenge, Ted. Every crevice
Isn't it
clean on that kid.
isn't it shocking how on one day having someone else's poop on your hands is about the worst thing you could ever think of, and then the next it's like it doesn't even matter. It's just it's there's not you don't even have to think about it ever again. It's just done.
I will say this. I've been holding my son multiple times now where I have felt the
Oh
pressure,
yeah.
like he's shooting it out with some serious PSI, right? And you can
Right.
feel it in your hand. But I've been the diaper guy. There has not been any poop come out of the diaper. It has all
Good.
stayed contained. So I'm sure I'm going to jinx myself there, but I'm feeling pretty good about the diaper technique.
It's
But there's
impressive.
there's always room for growth, Ted.
Yeah, you're right. It's funny. You can feel the like the abs tighten up. It's like a tight little football, and then it's so funny, dude. That's hilarious.
The look on his face is so good too. Just it's just being
I still have the same look on my face. It's okay. It's something you never grow out of.
this is gonna be an adventure. But I do want to say thank you to all the amazing people, especially the nurses at Mercy Hospital. They were beyond incredible, and those women are saints, man. They made our lives so much easier. My wife's recovery, taking him to the nursery at night, like they're the best. And I got some wine coming their way, Ted. I
Heck
took
yeah.
down the names of every single one that helped us, like personally, and we're gonna take care of them.
Smart. I love that. That's impressive. Good
Now
thinking
that
on your part.
now that we have talked about me becoming a dad, Cameron, by the way, named him Cameron.
Love
Cameron
it.
Ikard. Calling him Cam. I think Cam. I've been
That
going back
works.
and forth, so I think we're gonna stay. I think it's gonna be Cam. I don't know. I don't make the decision. I don't even know why I'm pretending like I do.
Yeah. I like it. I you never know what naturally you're gonna. There's all these plans of what you're gonna call him, and it something will stick. It may be Cam, it may be Cameron, it may be something weird that you never even thought of, but you'll find it, and it'll be natural.
I've just called him Poophead lately because the dude. I mean, the guy is he's just pooping left and right. I mean, it is what it is. Okay,
That's
let's.
that's about all he's gonna do for the first mm, 8 months.
Huh.
Cry, sleep, and poop.
All right. Well, I got that to look forward to.
Right.
At
Right.
least like our entire family lives within 2 miles, so we've got all the help in the world, which
That's awesome.
makes it nice. Okay, that was a lot of dad talk. I apologize for nothing.
That's good. We need it. It's a
We
big
need it.
moment, man.
It's a big moment. How hard can it be? it's gonna it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fun. Okay, let's talk about the ChampU BBQ. I got multiple tweets and we got multiple comments on our YouTube video that we put up on Monday, and it was, "Hey, why didn't you guys talk about the ChampU BBQ at all? Sorry, my wife was busy delivering a child. We apologize for nothing." So, Ted, you were there. I want to start with this. I judge barbecues. I judge them all the same way, and that is by the food. So before we get into the guys that came back and you talking to the recruits and all that stuff, how was the grub? Was it actual barbecue? What was the food situation?
Well, they had they had food trucks that were out there in the stadium. I think they had Midway Deli was one of them. I had Billy Sims barbecue. That's what was out there, and it was fantastic. Um, so there was plenty of good food options. I would give that. Um, I would say that was the thing that I would rate the lowest. Even though I thought the Billy Sims barbecue was great, it wasn't. I thought it was going to be kind of like a cookout style barbecue, like someone's over there smoking and you go through and you
Like
throw whatever you want on.
someone's dad is
Yeah.
randomly just over there.
Yeah. Like it was going to be like a big barbecue pit going on. Which there may be a reason why they couldn't do that because at one point I walked over and there was a big table full of like snacks and I was like, oh, cool. And he's like, I'm sorry, but you have to pay for these. And I was like, oh, okay. So there's probably some really weird rules that they have going on with that. I don't know exactly
Did you
what.
say I did pay for them with my blood, sweat, and tears for this program? My picture's on a damn pillar in here. Give me the damn snacks.
I think I said something like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll come back in a second. And then later I just swiped someone, no one was looking.
Respect
You
that.
know.
I
But
respect that.
the food I would say was um it was obviously good. The food truck stuff was great, but the situation was not what I thought it was going to be. And like I said, there's probably a reason for that.
Okay. So now that we've discussed the food, which you would say is, fine. Food was fine.
Mm-hmm. It's
Is
fine.
is kind of
Yep.
what I'm picking up from you. The only logical question I can go to next is the cars. Because the cars were what everyone was talking about. All the recruits seemed to really like them. There was picture after picture after picture from recruits all by them. Like, uh, your thoughts. That's all I got. Your thoughts on the car situation.
I had no idea that that was going to be a thing. And then, which by the way, I got there at noon and I didn't walk outside for the barbecue until 5 ish. So it was sitting out there the whole time and I had no idea. And then we walk out there and I was like, oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's a Ferrari and that's a Lamborghini and that's a Rolls Royce and that's a Bentley. So that was pretty cool. Now I had no idea of this at the time, but someone told me after the fact that they thought maybe it was a troll of Texas because Texas was doing recruiting pictures and then they were like in the background superimposing like cars back there. I don't know if it was the recruits' favorite cars or what that was, but it was something that they were adding digitally. So the thought was that OU maybe was doing that like we're going to have these guys taking pictures in front of the real deal. I don't know if that's where that came from, but it was still really cool. They had some awesome stuff out there.
Yeah, I saw this. Like, yeah, those are impressive. I don't know if that would have been cool to me when I was getting recruited, but it certainly seemed like it went well, right? I mean, every
Yeah.
kid was posting a picture with him.
uh, Whenever we first came out. So we came out there and then they had a scavenger hunt and the scavenger hunt was ending as they were coming into the stadium. Like they had to run into the stadium as like their final thing. And as they ran out there, everyone was seeing the cars and like, oh, sweet, those are cool. One of the recruits went over and was looking at one of them and the alarm went off. And he's like, I didn't touch it. I swear I did not touch it. I don't know why that was pretty funny. So yeah, I like for me personally, I'm a car guy. I love those type of cars. And whenever I was in high school, I know I had never seen one of those in person in real life. So that was I would think that that would be like one of the coolest things of the trip if I were a high school kid.
Yeah, no, I think that whether it was troll in Texas, which that's hilarious if it was, and I have seen those pictures that Texas put out, so that makes it awfully funny. But it it worked. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
ultimate thing is I think it worked to caught people's attention. That was the whole point of it. Kids seemed to really like it. Now, the biggest thing, in my opinion, was all the guys that came back, right? All the
Mhm.
former players, Adrian Peterson, Kyler, Jalen Hurts. I thought that was really cool that he was there. Remember, a guy that only spent 1 year at OU, Trent Williams, Hollywood, CD, Canine, Lane, you, Dusty, Tommy Harris, Billy Sims, Shep, the Belldozer,
Sam Bradford.
Sam. Sam Bradford was the one that had people going nuts. You don't see Sammy B much, right? He kind of
No.
he kind of operates in the shadows. The only time I've seen him in the last couple of years is at Whole Foods here in Oklahoma City. That's the only time I run into him. It was awesome seeing all those guys back and getting to see the pictures. It I'm sitting in the hospital room, right? We're waiting this whole thing out. I'm looking at pictures of all those guys. It was cool to see.
No, it was awesome. Having all those guys around, like for the most part, there was only a couple of really formal moments for the players, former players. They obviously had the panel thing. I think the offensive guys did a panel in there. The defensive guys did not. So for the most part, it was just hanging around, talking to parents, mingling with the kids. They had so you've seen the new indoor. It's got the big turf field in there where they time 40s and do some speed work and stuff. And that's kind of where they set up and have some of their presentations because there's a huge jumbotron in there. And one of the things like before they were doing the presentations, just whenever guys were just kind of hanging around mingling, they had a basketball hoop out there. And it's like an icebreaker. And I'm sitting there talking to, I don't know, one of the coaches. Actually, I think it may have been DeMarco. And there was a couple of wide receivers that were out there just kind of standing around shooting hoops with Sterling Shepard, Kyler Murray, CeeDee Lamb, Marquise Brown, and like Sterling Shepard's like shooting CeeDee Lamb for $100 a shot for threes and stuff like that. And it's like, can you imagine being a high school kid and standing there? It's probably, and I was like, that's more nerve wracking throwing up a shot around that group than, trying to hit the game winner in a state championship. Because if you throw up an air ball around those guys, they're going to let you have it. But it was cool that everyone was there, no pressure, just hanging out and talking to recruits.
So I saw the picture of the panel, and it looked like that. Were you up first there on the panel? It looked like you were hitting
Yeah.
leadoff. What were, in all seriousness, what was kind of your message, and what were kind of some of the other guys' messages to the recruits? Because I know the vast majority of that group well that was on that panel, and that's not a group of guys that tend to sugarcoat much.
Right. Yeah. Well, first of all, yes, I was hitting leadoff on the panel, and that was totally on purpose. Because I asked Ty Darlington, he was running it, and I was like, "So what's the format here? What are we going to do?" He's like, "I'm going to start down here, and I'll just introduce everyone, whatever." So I got down there first in line. In a big group like that, everyone's going to end up trying to say the same thing differently, and with I don't know, was it 15, 20 guys there? It can get really hard, and you never want to follow someone that tells some like unbelievable story and gets the crowd like laughing or going. So you start things off, get it out. You don't have to sit there and worry about it as the microphone gets closer to you. So you always just try and hit lead off. So like my message was like just kind of talking about uh, the family atmosphere and how you can always be welcome back. And whenever I was young, I was their age, walking up and down the halls and seeing the different All Americans and award winners, and walking past the national championship trophies and all of those things. Like as soon as you do that, that all of a sudden becomes your goal. Like for me, my goal was only to get to college football. I never had, aside from that, I was like, I'll just see what happens. But then you walk down those halls, and not only do you say, it's attainable and you can do that here, and guys often do that here, it's like all of a sudden that's expected, and that's the level that you need to get to. So, just kind of, the message was fairly simple, that you can achieve anything that anyone can at any university. Family atmosphere. Everyone talked about how, almost everyone on that panel at some time or another, I had some type of work with them on the field, except for the new guys, like coming back to summer workouts, just whatever it might be, that everyone there, you're always going to be on the team with those guys. So, and that's kind of, everyone kind of said the same, not the same thing, but that was kind of the message, is how, it's a family atmosphere, because that's what, they always talk about up there. And I think it's true. Um, Jermaine Gresham went last,
Oh God.
and he basically just walked up there and said, um, what was it? It was something along the lines of, come here. If you're going to come here, you come here to win and play football at a high level. If not, don't come here. Essentially, it was pretty short and sweet, basically saying that, uh, only the best come here, the rest need not apply. And it was pretty funny.
Yeah, Gresh usually has a gift for delivering pretty direct messages in a
To
funny
the
way.
point.
The guy is funny,
To the point pretty quickly.
but I'm glad it went so well. And that was, it seemed like it went about as well as it could have. And I know some of the fan base were expecting like a lot of commitments to come after it, right? Because it did appear like it had gone so well. There were so many guys back. There were 2022 recruits there. There were 2023 recruits there. I mean, a lot of guys there. And I was talking to some people about maybe the perceived lack of commitments, right? The eyeballs that normally come after this event. And the kids are just in a different spot in their recruitment, right? Because of the dead period, right? Because of the corona year, kids aren't as far along. Like a lot of these kids haven't been 5 places. I mean, they
Right.
haven't even been 2 places. Maybe Oklahoma was the first place they've been, Ted. So while it was an incredibly impressive event that I think only a handful of schools can pull off, you saw the Gavin Sawchuk kid, right? That number 2 running back in the
Yep.
class of 2022. He commits, which is fantastic. And you saw Raleek Brown there. It sounds like he was recruiting him and convincing him. And it sounds like DeMarco Murray and Lincoln Riley have a plan for those 2 guys, but
Yeah.
there wasn't just some avalanche of commitments. And it's because these recruiting classes is just weird, right? They haven't been able to go on campus a lot of places.
No, there's no doubt about that. Kids want to go see some places. They want to see some coaches. So it's probably going to be a little bit slower than normal. I agree with that. And I'll add this. Um, there were, I think, 50 some official guys there, official visits.
Whoa.
Most of those guys had 2, 3, 4 people with them on their trip. There was a whole nother group of unofficial visits that may have been bigger than that. They all had 2, 3, 4 people with them, former players, staff, recruiting staff, all total. I think I heard someone say that there was going to be 1,000 people through there over the weekend. And the thing now is to have your moment. That's not really an environment to commit and have like your moment to commit, right?
Right.
It's going to be spaced out a little bit, and guys are kind of going to come at this one at a time as the calendar kind of ticks off. So, and I didn't go into this expecting like all of a sudden over the weekend there's going to be 5 or 6 guys commit. I think that you may get 5, 6, 8 commitments out of this, but not directly after. Like it may be stretched out, but that type of event can seal the deal. It's just a matter of them going about announcing it the way that they want to.
Right. So maybe you haven't seen them reap the rewards of putting on such a complicated and big
Yeah.
event. It looked really impressive. Fueled me through the night. I just realized I didn't mention in our little dad talk to start off that my son was born on Father's Day. No big deal.
That's right. That's right.
It's a
That's awesome. I
memorable
told
first
you.
Father's Day.
I said he's already stealing your thunder right out of the gate. You know,
Kid's selfish, man.
can't even
Just
have your
like
own
his
day.
dad. Just
Never even going to
selfish.
be able to celebrate Father's Day. It's always going to be your kid's birthday that you're celebrating. Gosh, dang it. That's awesome, though.
It won't
It is
fall on
good.
Father's Day every year, will it? I'm not good at math, but
Oh,
right?
yeah, that's probably right.
But it
Yeah,
will some years, and I'm gonna be like, gosh, dang it, it's
yeah.
my day, kid.
No, that's awesome, though. That is cool. That
Okay,
is
so
cool.
for our call your shot question, ask the listeners, Ted, their biggest takeaway from the ChampU BBQ. Our man at ZT Atkinson, aka Toasty Pants,
Yes, he's
he's
back.
back. He said, number one, Kobe's dad talking about how real Teddy was and how simple his message was to the young bloods. Want to win? Come to OU. Did you say these things?
Uh, yeah, I think so. I did talk with his parents for quite a while. They were really cool. They love it here. They, you know, he's been committed for a long time. They went out and when they looked at the stadium, they loved the south end zone. And then when they toured that, and they bought season tickets in the south end zone, so um, that's how much they liked it. So yeah, it was good. And that's the thing is you had an extended amount of time to just kind of hang out and chat and just talk. And by the way, he looks like most of the recruits. It's kind of weird whenever you see him and someone will say like that kid's the number one edge guy, or that's the one of the biggest or best tight ends in the country. Everyone looks so freaking skinny that I'm like, how is that the case? But they're young and they're going to put on weight. And even some of the backers are super lean guys that are going to put on good weight. Like he already looks like a college football player. Like he is a big dude, and I think he's going to have a chance right away.
Yeah, and I saw a picture of him and Kenneth Murray, and I was like, huh,
Yeah,
they look they look pretty similar body
yeah.
type wise. So yeah, he looked impressive physically. Toasty Pants also said number two, DeMarco can recruit. Ted, I will give you the floor here, sir, because you've been saying this for a while.
I'm telling you, he he was totally in his element. It was awesome watching him work. He was relaxed. He was cracking jokes with the kids, with the parents. Um, he looked like DeMarco Murray, the coolest guy in the building. That's what he looked like, and it was just awesome. He is going to be a rock star recruiter. I'm just telling you right now. Um, it is no surprise. Like saw Chuck watching him and the way he was interacting with some of the other recruits and some of the former players, uh, like genuinely looked like he was having just the time of his life. Seemed like just a great kid on the field, off the field. I could tell just by watching him. I was like, it may not be today, it may not be this month, it may not be for a long time, but I'd be shocked if that kid's not coming to Oklahoma.
Yeah. And then number three, our man Toasty Pants said OU is starting to get the national perception changed with the type of kids they are recruiting and landing. He adds hashtag Toasty, hashtag let's go. Thank you, Toasty Pants. Oh, we also got this
True.
one from at Don't Trust Government, which is a hell of a handle. It says number one, that Sam Bradford is alive and well.
Whenever a lot of guys were there kind of all day, but some of the guys didn't get there until later, like about 4:30 or 5 whenever we went out to do the panel, and we all kind of met up in the training room. And since I'd been there all day, and I just kind of went in and sat down because I was tired from standing around, walking around. I got there early. Blake Bell came in just a few minutes later, so I was chatting with him. And the next guy was Sammy B walking in, and I was like, double take. I was like, Sam, how about that? It was cool to see him, and he's not the he's not the most outgoing guy. He's pretty reserved. Um, but I think getting in there and talking with a bunch of the guys that he played with, guys that he'd been around that he knows, loosened him up quite a bit, and he looked happy to be there. I mean, I wouldn't say that all of a sudden Sam Bradford's going to be at every home game on the sideline, but I would say that I felt like it was maybe an icebreaker, and maybe he'll be around a little bit.
Open the door.
Yeah.
It opened the door. It was I was really glad to see that. I bet you his golf game is just so good right now.
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
yeah. It was great before, and I am right there with you, my man.
And fatherhood is going to, I mean, I don't know the next time I'm going to get to hit a golf ball, Ted. It's to be determined. Okay, let's get to football guys talking basketball. But first, let's talk money. First Fidelity Bank is a full service financial institution based in Oklahoma with tailored solutions for all your personal and business needs. Checking accounts, saving accounts, home loans, and much more. They do it all, whether it's online banking from your computer or mobile banking from your phone. Everything is stress free with FFB. Making mobile deposits, paying bills online, and moving money to different accounts could not be easier. First Fidelity Bank also provides free ATMs worldwide, making banking convenient wherever you are. They also give back to the community. FFB donates a total of more than $500,000 to local charities and educational foundations. Make your life easier and go bank at First Fidelity Bank. Visit ffb.com for more information. And don't forget to send your kids to Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School. Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School has a long tradition of educational excellence. They know that children need to be in school and are doing everything possible to make that happen. With a 12-to-1 student to teacher ratio, no student is overlooked. Bishop McGinnis's college prep curriculum offers 22 AP courses. Bishop McGinnis also offers all the clubs and athletics a student could ever want. If you want to provide the best possible educational and spiritual development for your children, contact Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School or visit bmchs.org. Financial aid is available. FGTB, let's talk some Thunder.
Let's do it.
Ted,
Let's do it.
let's start with good news. Let's start with the good news. I think the Thunder have traded Al Horford and Moses Brown and a future second round pick for Kemba Walker, the 16th pick from the Boston Celtics, and a future second round pick. Now, the timing is very weird on this trade, but this does feel like a win-win. In fact, that's kind of exactly what Sam Presti said about it after the fact. Boston gets a little more flexibility, getting rid of Kemba's deal, right? He's due a little over $73 million over the next 2 seasons. The Thunder get rid of Horford's deal. They get another first-round pick and have some flexibility when it comes to what they can do with Kemba Walker. Ted, when this came through, I kind of just tilted my head. Like when you make a sound at a dog, you know that look the dog gives you, like, huh,
Yeah.
what? It seems like a good thing for the Thunder, I think.
Yeah. I think it is. Al Horford, Moses Brown, future second round pick. I don't see anything there long term that's going to help the Thunder try and reestablish themselves in this league. Kemba Walker and a first round 16th pick and a future second. 16th round NBA draft is usually extremely top heavy. You're usually talking about 5, 6, maybe 8 guys. but you just never know. There's been plenty of great players picked after pick 15 in the NBA. So that's still a decent asset that you can acquire players. You can use it to trade. I don't think Kemba Walker ever plays any minutes at Oklahoma City. That's just me. If he does, great. I think he's a star and he's fun to watch. He's got a great game, but I don't think he's ever going to play. I think he's still he's still a good trade piece. I know he's got a really big contract, but he still brings something to the table. So I think it's a good deal. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, it seems like the ideal scenario would be to somehow trade Kemba Walker this summer and get some assets for him. Now, there's the possibility, right, that doesn't happen and that he'll play for the Thunder and they will get him out there and try to increase his trade value, and maybe you move him at the deadline. If that happens, you hope he plays well and the Thunder can flip him for assets. But when when you watch Kemba Walker, when he is healthy, he is still one of the better shot creating guards in the NBA. The problem is, from all indications, from some of the things that some of the people around the Celtics organization have said, it sounds like he's got an arthritic knee, right? I mean, he's missed a lot of games over the last 2 seasons. I don't know if it's quite bone on bone, but that's kind of what it sounds like. So, how do the Thunder balance that, maintaining his trade value, keeping him healthy, but also showcasing that he still can play? I don't know. It sounds complicated, Ted.
It sounds extremely complicated. I don't know. It's not the Thunder's style to acquire a guy that has an issue with a knee. You know, we all remember whenever Tyson Chandler didn't pass the physical, and to trade for a guy that you're going to be paying 73 million over 2 years, and there's a knee injury and you think he may miss a lot of time, that doesn't seem like it's their style. So that makes me think even more so that they'll be looking to trade him. But here's the thing, man. With a salary cap comes a salary floor. So teams need, as crazy as it sounds, they need big contracts like this. And you may need a contract like that just to keep yourself above the salary floor. And if you get something from him, great. If not, well, you're getting that massive payroll number that you need. That's so weird to say, but that's the reality of it.
Yeah, I think if you look at it, I think Shea is, and I'd have to look, but on the Bucks now, Kemba obviously going to be the highest paid guy on the Thunder roster, but I think Shea's like the second highest paid guy, and he's supposed to make like 5 million next year.
Yeah.
So you're right.
They may have to have it.
You have to get to a certain number, or else you get fined by the league. Like, you have to spend a certain amount of money. So it was an interesting trade. It's going to be really interesting to see how they end up handling Kemba Walker. So the other piece of Thunder news is, it's bad. It made me sad. The NBA draft lottery happened on Tuesday night. Ted, all of us Thunder fans, we were so hopeful. We thought we were going to get smiled upon by the basketball gods after having to go through the season that we just went through. And instead, the basketball gods took a shit on our heads.
Yeah.
There was a chance the Thunder could get, and I never really thought that it was going to happen, but there was a chance, right? It was mathematically feasible that the Thunder were going to get 2 top 5 picks if that Rockets pick fell to number 5. But we won't go through all the different scenarios that could have played out. But the reality of the situation is that the Thunder has the number 6 pick in what many people view as a 5-player draft. So that sucks.
Yeah. It's not good. Here's the thing. You never know, right? There's a lot of players that were taken 8 in what people considered to be a 5-person draft, 5-player draft, and turned out to be great players. I don't know enough about the guys that they're going to draft to know and forecast what their future is going to be, but I can guarantee you that there's going to be, 5, 8 years from now, we're going to look back at this draft and there's going to be someone in the first round that has an amazing career that was not one of those top 5 guys. Does that mean that that player is going to be picked at 6, 16, or 18? No, it doesn't. But there's going to be some guys in this draft that pan out that were not the top 5. And that's really the only way you can look at it is, you know, and quite frankly, Presti has done that before. Ibaka is a guy like that. Gosh, you could even where was Harden taken?
He was the
Was he
3rd
third?
pick.
There's been some
4th pick,
guys
3rd pick, 4th
that
pick.
have been a little bit later that people were unsure of and turned out to be good players. So I don't know. It definitely isn't good. Are you in the group of people that believes it was rigged?
Do did we really need Cleveland getting lottery luck again? I mean, did we really need that? Did we need the Magic to have 2 lottery picks? I mean, what, the Pistons? No one cares about basketball in Detroit. I'm just kidding. They care a lot, but they've just been.
Well, so I didn't watch it. I was obviously trying to keep pace with what was going on, but I didn't have on. They don't do it on camera.
No, they just like put up the envelopes. Like, why would you not like crank out the ping pong balls and show it? Can we get some transparency, NBA?
There is no way that it's not rigged if they don't show it. I don't know. Maybe that means that they
You
have
think
to
they
have.
wanted to send Cade Cunningham to Detroit? I mean, maybe.
Well, someone has to explain to me why they do it that way. It's probably like computer generated, I guess, but maybe you'd have to have a massive amount of ping pong balls to be able to pull that off to get the odds proper. I have no idea, but I find it strange that they don't do the pick on camera. I think that reeks of being rigged.
I love a good Lehman conspiracy theory. You know how
Well,
much
come
I love
on,
them.
right?
Well, I
There's probably a reasonable explanation, but it's more fun to theorize about what could be going on here.
yeah. Well, I it's weird that the Thunder have 3 first-round picks, right? They've got 6 because of the Kemba trade. They now have 16, and then they have Miami's 18th pick now because the Rockets pick didn't convey. So they've got 6, 16, and 18, and somehow it feels like really unfortunate that that's where they're at. Would you? I don't know. In Presti we trust, I suppose.
Well, we've got no choice. Um, and I know this is not a well received opinion, but I do not see the situation getting better very quickly.
I'm afraid of that as well. Now, maybe they draft. A lot of people think they're going to take Scotty Barnes, the kid out of Florida State, which makes sense because he's tall, athletic, and can't shoot. So that would That would fit the bill. I think he was like a 27% 3-point shooter
Yeah, okay.
in his one season in
Wait till the
college.
Thunder get his hands on him, though. Then he'll be a 25%.
Yeah,
Okay,
then he'll take
that's
it.
what
He'll
usually
dip.
happens here.
I'll say this. I know that they're building around Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I was beyond impressed with his growth last season as a player, especially offensively, especially around the basket. If Davion Mitchell is there, whew, I know he's old. I know he's short, but that's the type of guy you want on your team. I know taking a 6-foot guy that is 23 years old, or I think that's probably about how old he is. Like, that's probably not a guy you'd normally take with the 6th pick, but I'm telling you right now, if they do it, I ain't gonna be mad.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with that. I I would I would just assume taking a guy where you kind of know what you're going to get than a project that you're going to try and shape. That can be incredibly difficult.
Yeah. Gosh, Davion Mitchell was fun to watch at Baylor.
Yeah,
Also, should Nazim Muhammad be banned from repping the Thunder at the lottery from now on?
of course,
Okay. Yeah. I figured.
absolutely.
Didn't even get in the top 5, man. What the hell? Okay, let's get to our winners and losers of the week. But first, do you own a business? If you do, you need Insurica in your life. Insurica is one of the country's largest insurance brokers with 30 offices throughout Oklahoma, Texas, and the Southwest. Insurica is able to customize programs by accessing the latest information from many insurance carriers. They compare and contrast coverage offerings and pricing in order to design a cost-effective, comprehensive program to meet your business's specific needs. Insurica's clients become best-in-class businesses by working with Insurica's team of advisors to manage risk. Purchasing insurance is only one way to protect your business. Best-in-class businesses win by avoiding loss in the first place. If your business partners with Insurica, you'll save huge amounts of money and take back control of your total cost of risk. I'm an Insurica client, and you should be too. If your business wants to be best in class, connect with Insurica at insurica.com. That's INSURICA.com. And make sure you connect with our friends at Advanced Weight Loss Clinic of Sand Springs. They'll help you execute a realistic and achievable weight loss plan designed for you and only you. They've got all kinds of treatments for men and women. They're licensed and trained experts combine diet and exercise with hormone therapies to maximize your results. If you're struggling with low libido or low energy, Advanced Weight Loss Clinic of Sand Springs can help with that too. They also offer Botox and fillers to get on the path to losing weight. Call 918-241-LOSE or visit their Facebook page. If you mention the podcast, you will get a free fat burner injection. As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
Nick Saban. Nick Saban is the winner of the week. He has offered an 8th grader from Louisiana, and I think he's got a good chance of landing that recruit. That 8th grader is like 6'2", 220 pounds. The video of him playing football in the 8th grade is insane. I believe he could play at Alabama today. His name is Keelan Moses. It's Dylan Moses' little brother. And if you've seen the video, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen the video of this kid, you need to find it. He looks like a college athlete playing football against 8th graders. And I am not exaggerating.
I am watching it right now. He has made approximately 7, 8, 9 guys miss. Oh, he's made guys miss twice now. He's running. He's running. He's running over people. He ran over another guy. Oh my, that run is just, yeah.
There's another video of him in the 7th grade in like a one-on-one tackling drill. And I'm telling you, it looks like a Mike Backer in Division I college football. It's insane.
I would say just from the hair coming out of the back of the helmet and the aggressive nature, this is the comp I'm going with for this 8th grader. A very much, and I just watched one play. That was it.
Right.
Very much a Marion Barber feel to his game.
Amazing. who knows? He may be peaking way too early here, which some people do. But since his brother's Dylan Moses, I would say that the chances of him panning out are probably going to be pretty good. Uh, Nick Saban's going to go ahead and get that offer out there in the 8th grade. Can you imagine being in the 8th grade and getting a scholarship offer from the the premier college football program in the country, Nick Saban? How unreal is that?
You're going to get to brag all of high school. Like, my recruitment's over. I'm going to Alabama. I don't know if you heard. He offered me
Think he's
when I
going to
was in eighth
commit?
grade.
He's going to commit 5 years out.
The 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 scary thing is Dylan Moses's brother. When he's there, Saban will still have like 3 years left on that new contract.
Oh yeah,
God,
that's right. I bet Saban tells him, I don't want you playing football. I just want you in the weight room, working out, staying healthy. We don't need you taking unnecessary shots, concussions, whatever. We need you bubble wrapped.
Nick
Don't even
Saban
play.
calling his freshman high school football coach. Yeah, he's got a carry limit of 12. Okay. Yes, sir, Mr.
I,
Saban. Yes,
I
sir.
can't imagine him being tackled 12 times in a football game. So I think his carry limit can be 3 or 4.
That clip is ridiculous.
They're
Okay.
all literally at like their helmets are below his shoulder pad level. It
And
looks like he's playing with
there's
like
several guys that miss him twice. God. Oh man, that's what Ted Lehman looked like back in the day out in
oh
Fort
please.
Gibson.
Unbelievable. That's hilarious.
All right, who do you have as your loser of the week?
Oh, I actually felt bad. The losers playoff P.
Mm.
Just I knew when he missed the first one he wasn't making the second one, right? It's like, come on, there's no way after that. Misses the 2 foul shots late. They fight the entire game. They finally get the lead right there. They're well under a minute. You hit a couple of foul shots and you're in really, really good condition, and playoff P can't come through for them. I actually felt bad for the guy. It was terrible. Terrible to watch.
So he misses the free throws, which is what everyone is going to talk about because whether you want to call him a playoff PP or what, there's lots of puns of the playoff P name, but he also shot the ball horribly in that game. 1 of 8 from 3. I mean, so I know when you look at his stat line, you see the 26 points, but he took 23 shots to get there. He went 1 of 8 from 3 and then missed the 2 biggest free throws of the game. So, yeah.
Well, here's the deal. I know they don't have the best player on their team who's, arguably one of the top 1, 2, 3 best players in the league. And that puts a lot of pressure on his shoulders. Now, all of a sudden, he's drawing the top defender. It's tough, but unfortunately, this is big boy basketball, and that's where you're going to be judged. And when it's all said and done, he makes over 30 million a year. It's not that big of a deal, but I did feel bad for him. It was a moment for him to kind of, regain some of that confidence and kind of show some people that he can do it whenever it's all kind of on the line. And he missed the 2 free throws, and he's a great free throw shooter.
Yeah, and the weird part about it was, well, he had the layup right there with 30-ish seconds to go, and then he hits the pull-up jumper, and you're like, oh man, Paul George is stepping up, and then he misses the free throws.
Well, I would say that it's the basketball gods because Booker did not foul him. I hate that they called that on him, which, that's basketball and that's how it's going to be officiated. But my goodness.
I thought you were going to say it was the basketball gods because of that review. That's the stupidest thing. Like where they
It's happened
slow
to the
mo it.
Thunder before, and I feel like was it against the Spurs in a playoff game.
It
It definitely happened against the Thunder before.
I want to say, and if we hadn't taken so many hits to the head, Ted, we could remember these things. It happened in it happened in a Final Four game too. I can't
Did it?
remember.
Yeah.
For some reason, I think it was Villanova. I don't know if it was, but it happened in like a Final Four or like the national championship game.
Yeah. Now I'm thinking it may have been either Chris Paul or Beverly whenever he was at Houston, or Chris Paul whenever he was the Clippers that did it against us. But I've seen the same scenario before, and that is such a dumb rule. I mean, I understand in letter of the rule, it's off that guy's hand last. I don't know what you're going to tell the officials whenever everyone can see it in slow motion, but I think unanimously everyone agrees that that's a stupid call and it should be changed.
Yeah. It the way I see it, it's someone that said this, and I can't remember who said it. I am really showing how great my memory is here. It's like if it happened in a pickup game, who would they say the ball was off? Like every single
Right.
time that situation happened at any level of basketball without replay, it would be Phoenix's ball.
Mm-hmm.
You super slow mo. It's just stupid. And
Yep.
I loved how Jeff Van Gundy said it was stupid.
Yeah.
That was like my favorite
Said
part of the
it's
broadcast.
stupid, and he's like, well, he's the last one off him. He's like, well, yeah, but that's not the intent of the rule, and I agree. It's not. He caused the ball to go out. I don't know. We could discuss that all night, but the end of that game was. I know everyone's complaining about the reviews, but I thought it kind of built the tension and it helped some of the plays unfold.
I think I read somewhere that the last 2 minutes of that game lasted 33 minutes,
Yeah, brutal.
which, jeez. Okay, guys, spring is here and you know what that means. It's hard seltzer season, baby. And there's only one hard seltzer that we drink on this podcast, and that is Will and Wiley Hard Seltzer from Coupe Ale Works. It's perfect for any occasion. We drink it by the pool, at the lake, and at the tailgate. It's made in Oklahoma, and it is absolutely delicious. I dare you to try the mango guava and say it's not incredible. Will and Wiley is customized for the Oklahoma lifestyle. Go find it right now in a store near you, and go follow them on social media at Will and Wiley. So, Ted, for my winner of the week, I thought about going with Carl Nassib. He's a former teammate of mine, just a hilarious guy to talk to. A lot of people got a nice little look into him from Hard Knocks, and that's Carl, man. Like it's conversations like that with that man every single day in the locker room. But he comes out on Instagram, brought a ton of attention to uh, the Trevor Project, which had me Google the Trevor Project, and they're doing some really good work. But he also cited some important stats about adults showing support and acceptance and how that can affect suicide attempts for LGBTQ kids. It was just cool. I thought it was really cool. It was kind of subtle, and it was so cool that people just started buying the hell out of his jersey. And he had the top selling jersey on Fanatics. But I know a lot of people are making it to be a really big deal, right? The first active, openly gay football player in the National Football League. And I like how he said, hopefully, someday this isn't a big deal. But I thought that was that was a big deal. It was. He didn't have to do it, and he did it. And there's going to be people that don't like it, and I don't really care about those people's opinion. But I'm just happy for Carl. Good guy. Glad he can live the life that he wants to live.
No, I agree 100%. Has to be for him, very, I was just like a weight lifted off his shoulders. And I think that I almost disagree that it's not a big deal. Do you remember when Michael Sams at Missouri had came out and before the draft, that was a huge deal that was talked about for weeks and weeks and weeks. And this thing was like, oh, great. And everyone, just giving support and kind of moved on. And you're always going to have people, obviously, that have something negative to say, but I didn't see any of that. I didn't see any conversations out there from people that have an audience talking about, well, how's this going to be, looked at in the locker room, and are his teammates going to turn? I didn't see any of that stuff. So I would almost say that it's already not a big deal.
Right. It was a big deal he did it, but it's not a big deal. Like it.
Right. Like it's obviously a big deal for him to be able to do that.
Right.
Absolutely. But I think the response from people was like, oh, cool. Good for you.
And
great.
The people, I mean, the guys in that locker room, it's simple. Can you play or can you not? I don't care. Yeah. I don't care what race you are. I don't care about your sexual orientation. I don't care about your religion. It's, can you play or can you not? Can you help us win football games? And Carlton Ask can rush the damn passer. Yeah. I mean, that's just the bottom line. So it had felt for a long time like the NFL was ready for this, right? Yeah. Teddy, you probably had guys on your team that you knew were gay. I've had guys on my teams that I knew were gay, and you just didn't really talk about it. It wasn't a big deal then, but I mean, I think it's important that if you're talented enough to play in the league, like you should get to be who you are, right? Yep. And I'm thrilled for Carl, and he's just so goofy, man. I mean, it's just so goofy. And that video was just so goofy. Him just, hey, straight to the point. Hey, it's Carl Nassau. Oh, by the way, it was great. And I think it's going to mean a lot to a lot of kids because it's just, something that we haven't seen anybody do before in that league.
Well, here's the thing is there's always going to be really hateful people that say horrible things and are completely and totally intolerant. And they showed themselves whenever they found out he was a Republican.
I saw that where people were like, I support this. This is awesome. Wait, he's a Republican?
I hope he dies. Yeah,
it was. Oh, I've talked some politics with Carl. Once again, he's an interesting guy, man. You can go down some deep rabbit holes with him, but happy for him. That's big time. And I'm glad that, that'll set the precedent and like you said, hopefully it's not a big deal moving forward, right? Hopefully it's all about what you do on the field, what you do in the community, that type of stuff. So, but my winner of the week, Ted, and I stayed away from it when you were talking about playoff P being your loser. My winner of the week is Deandre Ayton. I feel like this guy has really changed the way people feel about him during these playoffs, especially. This was a guy that was the number one pick in a draft that had Luka Doncic and Trae Young. It wasn't too long ago that people were saying he was trash and that people were coming up with hypothetical trades to get him out of Phoenix. And in game 2 there in the Western Conference Finals, he has 24 and 14. He goes 12 of 15 from the field and has the game-winning dunk on an absolutely beautiful pass from Jay Crowder. What an awesome moment for Deandre Ayton and the elevation of his level of play in the playoffs. I mean, it has been really, really impressive. And he is one of the guys, as I've watched basketball this season, especially the playoffs, where I've completely changed my opinion of him. I used to think, He's a big guy. He does some things okay. He's a decent defender. Like he can dunk it if you get into him. They're in the dunker spot. And he has been awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic for them. He's been a huge difference maker for a team that is now up 2-0, and they did it without Chris Paul, and they are very much a real title contender. It's impressive.
No, I agree 100%. And I'll tell you what I love about Phoenix is there's some guys on that team that have some experience, but there's some young guys that have never really been in big moments, and you can tell how bad that team wants to win, right? Everyone, like whenever they're over there in the huddle, sometimes in an NBA huddle, we used to watch Westbrook walk down and sit at the end of the bench and not listen to a word anyone says. When they're in that huddle, everyone is locked in, everyone's focused, they're talking to one another, they're trying to get everything right. That's fun to watch. And that last play was awesome.
How did how did the Clippers not switch that? Like, why? How do you get screened in that situation? Like, it's so bad. It's like, what's the one way we can get beat? Oh,
Well,
they throw it up to the rim and dunk it.
in Batum's defense, he got bench pressed into the screen. It's not like,
Little nudge.
yeah, that was still awesome, which, and I loved the call with Mark Jackson Van Gundy because I should have known this, but I didn't know that there was no goaltending on an inbounds play. That's a live basketball. So that was awesome. I still don't understand how it goes from point 0.9 to point 0.7 when it takes point 0.3 to catch and shoot, and that's an NBA rule. But nonetheless, it was still a really, really cool play.
Yeah, so I did know the rule. Uh, had young Cam in my arms, and I do all dads do this? Like when you know something, you know the rule on something, then you turn to your kid and explain the rule and
Sure.
try to make yourself sound super smart because
Yep.
the baby can't understand the words. And I was like, you know what? I was like, these guys from the Clippers, they look like idiots. They look like they don't know the rules, son. You got to know the rules.
You got to know the rules. Um, and you tell him what a great pass it was by Jay Crowder. It was
It
awesome.
was an awesome pass.
Perfect. I
Very
mean,
well
he just had
executed.
to just perfectly executed. That was awesome. The crowd shots of that arena going insane because, I'm sure some people were sitting there saying like that's the only thing that they can do. Maybe they thought they were going to try and get a catch and shoot with Booker or something, but it was the unexpected and everyone just went insane. That was awesome.
Yeah. Well,
Sons and
Suns
four
fans,
guy,
they've
he's still alive, baby. Let's go.
yeah, Suns and four. That guy, Suns fans, let's cool it. Stop beating people up. It was, the one video was cool. Stop hurting people. I mean, the organization had to put out a statement. It's getting so bad. That's when you
Stop
know it's
beating
legit.
up fans.
Please stop beating up fans. Okay, my loser of the week. Ted thought about going with Major League Baseball because some of these situations are, I mean, it's ridiculous. I know it's shocking when we're talking about baseball, them doing something stupid, but these the umpire checks with these pitchers where they're going out to check them for foreign substances. Maybe the best way to say it's not going well. It's not been well received by fans, by the players. Probably my favorite one was between Max Scherzer and Joe Girardi. Did you see that one? I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought Scherzer was going to pull his pants down, which would have been amazing, but they made one of the best pitchers in baseball, who has been consistently one of the best pitchers in baseball for a long time. They made an umpire check his hair. Ted, like the umpire ran his hands through Max Scherzer's hair, and
Sweaty
then
hair.
and then he wanted to fight the other team's manager because Joe Girardi was the one that told him to go check it.
Why does nobody think anything through? These are supposed to be some of the smartest people, in all of sports. The commissioners and whatever competition committees, whatever. Why are they checking a pitcher 5 innings into a game out on the mound? You check him before he starts the game. You check him between innings. Just like in football, the officials come in before you take the field, and they check all the defensive linemen to make sure that they don't have any substances on their jersey that make it hard to grab or whatever, and stuff on their arms, whatever they're checking them for. They should have someone that's not an umpire, not on the field, that's over there by the dugout that makes sure that the guys aren't putting anything on. It seems simple to me that you don't do it as a show out in front of everyone and stop a pitcher's momentum in an inning. All a manager has to do, if a guy's hot, he's working fast, he's going through mowing down an order of batters. Timeout, check him. His stuff's too good, and they go out there and they kill his momentum. It's dumb.
It's exactly what happened with Scherzer, right? Strikes a guy out, runs his hand through his hair, check his head. Just
They checked him 3 times, right?
Yeah, it's great for baseball, right? Keep trying to embarrass the stars. I'm sure. Oh yeah, and make the games longer too. Yeah, that's gonna work out well. But there was only one choice when it came to loser of the week, and that is the NCAA. NCAA v. Alston. Ted, we are not lawyers, but that case got the old Supreme Court treatment, and I am not an expert on Supreme Court decisions, but losing 9-0 seems pretty damn bad for the NCAA. So you look at the Supreme Court ruled that the NCAA can no longer place limits on education related benefits that they give the athletes. And Brett Kavanaugh, I mean, he straight up destroyed the NCAA in his concurring opinion. I couldn't read that enough. I was like, oh my gosh, he just wants to burn this thing to the ground. He made it sound like the NCAA will lose all of these cases moving forward. But it comes down to, okay, what does this mean for the NCAA? And it sounds like it's going to be educational equipment. There was a mention of study abroad programs, paid internships, maybe even rewards for academic achievement. I'm reading all of this going, Teddy, I was a nerd in college. I would have been rich. Academic achievement money? You kidding me?
Here's the other thing. I don't know how the NCAA has really any legs to stand on anymore, but there's a limit can no longer be placed on education related benefits. And one of the education related benefits is housing, right? You get a housing stipend or whatever it's called, housing reimbursement, or you get a check. If there's no limit placed on it, you can maybe give those guys as much as you want for their living check. It used to have to fall within like the average rent of a given area, correct?
That's what it was based off. Yeah.
If there's no longer,
you're talking about like the cost of attendance and all that stuff. Yeah. And how that's why at different schools, like the check amounts are different because they do a lot of math and they base it off what things cost in that area.
Right. And I know whenever I was in school, we were always talking about how much different guys got for scholarship checks for their monthly stuff. So if there's no limit no limit on that stuff now, does that mean they can give them whatever they feel they deserve for room and board? I mean, I don't know what any of this stuff means. I know that the NCAA is backpedaling like crazy and they're on the defensive, and the landscape with the name, image, and likeness stuff with this ruling, college sports are about to become really crazy. And one more thing about the ChampU BBQ, they had a big name, image, and likeness presentation for the players about all the things that they're going to do for them there to help them grow their brand. And Lincoln came up and spoke later and said, I just want to make sure everyone in here knows this, that this rule, this new name, image, and likeness deal is going to destroy some teams in college football. It's going to destroy them. But he made the point that it's not going to destroy us because of the way that we're going to handle it. But I think that there may be some truth to what he's saying. I'm not saying these things are either. I think they're the right choices, but whenever you just all of a sudden open up the floodgates, there's going to be some unintended consequences, and I don't know what they are. And maybe you just deal with those and roll on. Guess you got no choice.
The study abroad trip, being able to pay for that could be sick for some football
Where
kids.
would you have wanted to go? Italy?
Well, actually, and this is, for a different podcast, but I actually was intimately involved in organizing a little 2-week trip to Ireland that me, Trey Millard, and Blake Bell all went on. Did that with President Boren. So we were drunk in Ireland for 2 weeks. We took a class called Culture and Sports in Ireland. Very challenging. Very challenging course.
Was it fun?
It was awesome. We got to play like some of the traditional like Gaelic games. We went and did some of that stuff. It was really fun. And then we got hammered every night. That's what we did.
What time of the year did you go?
We went during May. So before summer workouts.
Right after finals and
before in like that workouts. 2-week period, which
that's cool.
Yeah, we were in really good shape for some workouts. No, it was awesome, but that will be cool if more kids get an experience like that, because a lot of kids, get to study abroad, and that's just something that football players and other student athletes really don't get to do. Now, I love how the basketball teams now, they go play over in Europe. I saw a bunch of them, a couple of years ago when we were in Italy. I saw all kinds of college basketball teams over there, but I just imagine that these kids are going to have like every Apple product for free, which doesn't really bother me. It doesn't really bother me. That's pretty sweet.
I honestly, I don't know what it means as far when they say you can't put limits on it. I don't know what that means. Does that mean here's your $15,000 check to buy what you need for school? I don't know what that means. We'll see. We'll find out what it means really quickly.
Yeah, we'll see. How bad can it be? All right. On that note, episode 123 in the books. We'll have a new podcast that'll drop Monday morning where we will be answering listener questions, Ted.
Fascinating. I can't wait to see what this brings.
I've been compiling the list. There are there's some interesting ones in there. Nice. You can hear Teddy from 2 to 6 on Sports Talk 1400. You can hear me from 3 to 5 on Sirius XM Big 12 Radio, channel 375. Hope you all have a great weekend. Until next time, we appreciate y'all for listening. And do what you always do, Oklahoma. Take care of each other.